Happy Sunday to you. Maybe not so happy if you were hoping Canada won gold. That was a heartbreaker. But it is Sunday afternoon, and nevertheless, even though that did not go as well as we had hoped, I am really excited today. I've got a fire under me, and I'm going to give credit for that fire to a CBC article, just came out. So if you go to CBC New Brunswick, you will see front and center an article about our neighbor municipality of McAdam, just to the north of us there on the way to Fredericton, and about Mayor Ken Stannix. And CBC is finally catching up with something that I got to learn about in 2024 when I was running to be MLA, and I went up to McAdam and I met Mayor Ken Stannix, and I sat in one of their council meetings, but more importantly, he very graciously spent a couple hours with me. He took me in his truck and drove me around McAdam, showing me all of the things that he and his council team and developers and planners up in McAdam had been sketching out for years by way of growth and preparing for growth and strategizing to make McAdam a thriving municipality now and into the future. I want to talk to you over the next few days now about how important this is in a municipality. Like I say, I kind of sit around, I do research for these videos for myself in anticipation of being mayor, because I am in it to win it, to serve in this way. And ultimately, when I moved here in 2018 and fell in love with this community, with this part of the world, and I still am, and I've said, I'm raising 2 kids in this town with my wife. We have a house here. We plan on dying in it. It sounds morbid, but you get the point. We are so excited for the future of St. Stephen, and always have been. And in fact, I was so excited when I moved here, and there's something called Future St. Stephen. I met the president as soon as we arrived here, Richard Fulton, and then my friend Kendall Kaditz took over, and I just thought, this is so amazing that we have something in our municipality called Future St. Stephen. And it's still going. Apparently, I hear they're looking for a new president, so we hope somebody really great takes over. Rivers Corbett has done some amazing work there. My point is, St. Stephen has an amazing future with the basketball court coming, with the hotel coming. But I don't know about you. I'm kind of tired about hearing that St. Stephen has potential. It's kind of like, are we there yet? When are we going to start stepping into that potential? Friends, what this story in McAdam and many others, I've kind of started, making it a hobby of mine to research municipalities that revitalized themselves in the wake of, frankly, a local depression. And of course, I don't mean that St. Stephen is depressed, but what I mean is a lot of small towns like us have like heritage industries. Maybe that's logging, maybe that's fishing, maybe that's, the axe factory that went the way of the dodo in the 1940s and things like that. I mean, things like that happen. Huge centers of employment where that drove economic activity in a municipality. What happens when they fold due to changing economies, due to free trade, globalization, demand changing? Do we just say, oh, well, now we're done? Well, there are municipalities that have forged the way, become amazing examples of pivoting and changing what they're about, and growing and creating these communities that people want to move to. And so I want to share more about that this week. But what all these communities have in common, in all the stories I'm about to tell you, are strong leadership that are moving everyone towards a goal. And that is typically the mayor and council and Chamber of Commerce, business, all these partners coming together saying, we know where we want to go. We're syncretized across all of these sectors, and we are moving together because you can't do everything all at once, right? So you have to say, here's where we want to get to next, here where we want to get to next. Some quotes that are kind of cliche. All the way back in the Bible, the book of Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people perish. This sense that, even in ancient times, if you do not say there's a horizon that we are moving towards, there's a place where we are going, whatever that is, economically, ethically, in terms of your population, it doesn't matter. You need to be setting a goal. And hey, we go from Bible to something like Yogi Berra, the famous baseball player who is known for his quippiness. He said, if you don't know where you're going, you're guaranteed to end up somewhere else, or something like that. Friends, it has felt like St. Stephen is loaded with potential. We are coming online with all these amazing and exciting new opportunities, buildings, infrastructure that can draw people, that can make people excited about our town, that can fill a lot of the needs that we have been aiming towards. But what has been absent since I have lived here, and I can't speak to much before that, though, is that sense of clear, forward-thinking direction with a voice leading the way. Now, again, I've told you I'm not going to take the voice of criticizing what has happened in the past. That is not the tone and tenor I want to take. But I do want to say to you that I believe that's why a new chapter is necessary in the life of the Municipal District of St. Stephen. We just amalgamated. That came with a lot of challenges and still does, ongoing. The Starshine Properties issue, where, we did have houses where many people, too many people lived in them. It was one owner. We all know, most of us, who that was. Properties all over St. Stephen where people were paying $200-300 a month. People stuffed in there. It was obviously breaking code and things like that. But then someone else came. You can look all this up online. Someone else came, bought those properties up, then didn't maintain them. Then they got shut down. All those folks ended up on the street, many in the shelter now. This is a challenge that faces our community. It has been a setback. St. Stephen has been experiencing and enduring setbacks. And what is happening when we are experiencing these setbacks without a vision, without a goal, without us saying together, all as one voice, united, that's okay because we're still moving in this direction. Well, when you don't have that, the setbacks, that's all they do is set you back. And you still don't know. Yogi Berra, if you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere else. I want St. Stephen, I'm sure you want St. Stephen, to be a place, not growth for growth's sake, although I am reading a book called Stronger Towns right now, Strong Towns, and it's a whole movement. I think I've mentioned it before. The reason why municipalities need to be growing, there's that trope. And I've wondered it too, like if you're not growing, you're dying. Well, why does it need to grow? And I've heard lots of people in St. Stephen who've lived here for many, many, many years. Why do we need to be growing? What's the point of growth? Growth for growth's sake, that's not a good enough reason to grow. And again, it depends on what kind of growth we're talking about. But friends, here's the issue with municipalities, and that's why if you're not growing, you're dying is true. Because municipalities run on something called infrastructure. That's water pipes, that's roads, that's water treatment. That is literally gravel and asphalt and metal and things that break. And the only way to upkeep those things is to, again, replace them, pay for crumbling roads that need to be replaced. Pay for bursting pipes. Yeah, pray they don't break. Pay for bursting pipes that need to be replaced. Pay for increased water treatment capacity as things age. Okay, so that is why a municipality needs to be attracting more people to live here, because a municipality's only revenue, aside from grants and subsidies and things, which a municipality can't survive on alone, a municipality's revenue is a tax-based property tax. Property owners who are taxed, right? I pay about $250 a month in tax based on my assessment. We won't go into all that here, but my point is, it is really important that people continue to move to your municipality and pay property tax. And yes, I go down to lots of rabbit holes around critiquing this whole model. We're not doing that here. But as it stands, people need to move to your municipality and pay property tax, which then will allow roads to be replaced and maintained, sidewalks, pipes, things like that. But municipalities are made up of stuff, things that break and need to be replaced, and people who pay taxes to replace that. And so that's why if you have a receding population and the tax base is shrinking, but those pipes are going to keep bursting and those roads are going to keep crumbling, this is how towns get that gap of, oh my gosh, we can't pay for this, we can't upkeep this. And and it's you need to be careful. Again, I feel myself, I'm north of 10 minutes, so I'm not going to explain the challenges and the importance of how to respond to that and make sure that gap doesn't keep increasing. Suffice it to say, I'm excited because this week I want to talk to you about the McAdam story tomorrow, other communities, other case studies, Canadian ones specifically, although there are some in the U.S. as well, that, hey, I want to show you the importance of pivoting, having a goal and leadership, bringing us all in one direction, and for inspiration, because St. Stephen needs that in the next chapter. And I want to end with this caveat. The direction we're going in is not set by the mayor, right? The mayor does not come in and say, well, I've made a decision, folks. This is what it's... So where does it come from? It comes from the council you're going to elect. That's one source. It comes from something like the municipality, 10 things in here where we say we're going. It comes from the province, in our case, has set certain goals that we can tap into. But it comes from the residents. It comes from us. It comes from our talents, our skills, our passions, our history, and that's where we put all those pieces together, and kind of like a mosaic, we get this picture that emerges and says, here's where we can go together. That has not existed as long as I have lived here. And it's very important in our next chapter with these coming exciting updates to our community, like a hotel, like the world's oldest basketball court and other things, which I think can revitalize business. We need jobs here. We need people moving here, and we need to set a goal on the horizon somewhere. We're moving together, and what we need is leadership who can articulate that on a regular basis so that every resident can say, oh, I know where we're going. I know what we're doing, and here's how we're going to get there. That is what I want to do for you. And that's one of the most exciting things for me. And that's why I'm excited to start knocking on doors if it starts warming up. And today is like 0 degrees. So days like this make me realize I'm going to go out there, and I can't wait to ask so many of you, where do you see us going? What are you bringing to the table of our community to move us forward together? Let's get more specific tomorrow. Like I said, I'll start with McAdam, because it's an exciting story about leadership, about goal, about risk, and about direction. That's where St. Stephen needs to go. buildupststephen.ca is my website. Priorities, commitments, action plan. I am going to unpack that eventually, but we've got 70 plus episodes of dailies to go. Thanks, friends. Have a great Sunday. Dealing with the, silver medal in men's hockey. That's good. Canada did a lot of good things at the Olympics, and I will see you tomorrow, Monday.